Yeah, it would be really scary if the Chinese agencies spied on me to find out how much of a dick rider I was. Yeah, I like to keep a level playing field. Everyone can have my data. I already know the American agencies are already up my asshole, so might as well give in to the fucking Chinese ones. Fuck it, I'll get a Huawei phone myself and personally speak sweet nothings about Xi Jinping into it. Okay, by the end of the trip, I'm gonna have maxed out social credit. Okay, they're gonna open up a new tier. They're gonna be like, dude, this Hasan guy, he's got platinum tier social credit. He can now take the high speed train for free. Okay, you know how like if you get a low enough social credit, you can't get on the high speed trains. Mine is gonna be so goddamn high. I will have a new tier. Yeah, I'm gonna be grinding that shit like a fucking gold farmer on WoW.
Boathouses at the river, driving courses, and an airfield. Students learn everything they need to know about life as a secret agent in the field, from basic weapons trainings all the way to the handling of explosives, how to evade pursuers, and field surveillance. Students practice how to infiltrate a border that is tightly guarded by watchtowers and police dogs. Enemy capture is simulated by kidnapping students from their dorm and interrogating them. There's even a mock prison where students learn how to deal with solitary confinement.
Not gonna lie, this is kind of cool. Like, I mean, obviously it sucks, and I know why they're doing it, and it's dog shit. But like, it would be kind of cool to be trained like that. I feel like, I don't know.
If training needs to be even more hardcore, students are brought to Harvey Point, just a few hours south of the farm. This is the place where, among other things, the operation to kill Osama bin Laden was planned and trained.
Okay, well, that was a big L. So I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that shit didn't take. Okay, this is where they trained the Osama bin Laden mission, Delta Force. That's why there's 11 downed Black Hawks in the region. This is where they train the inevitable Black Hawk crash, like so you're ready for it when it happens, because it's gonna happen. There's just no way that it's not going to happen. You get in a fucking Black Hawk, it's going to go down, famously. Sick paintball team, though.
Jane stands in front of a customs officer at the Australian airport. She remembers how to survive secondary screening. According to a CIA training manual...
What do you mean, survive secondary screening? Bitch, I get secondary screening every time. I'm still alive. What are we talking about? Like, okay, no disrespect to Fern, but I don't think it's like a... I guess if you're a white woman, it hits different. You're like, what? You're treating me like a Muslim.
The two most common questions in this situation are, why are you here? And where are you staying? Jane learned how to maintain her cover, no matter what. When asked, Jane gives a quick and concise answer. No pause and no delaying sounds between questions and response, just as the manual says. She knows that any unnecessary information or overly specific answers might lengthen the interview, so she keeps it short and simple. She tries to stay calm. No swallowing, no lip biting, nothing that can make her seem nervous. And it works. After a few minutes, the officer hands Jane her passport, and she's free to enter the country. Jane is sitting with her colleagues in a casino in Alice Springs. A small...
I was about to say, wait, this is literally where the Boy and I did the thing went. But it is pretty funny that, like, of course, the Australia mention is going to come with a casino. That's all they fucking do out there, bro.
Right in the heart of the Australian outback. There are a lot of Americans all around her, which is not unusual. Most of them work at Pine Gap, a nearby military base run by the Australian and US government. Jane and others are playing a weird American dice game called Craps when a group of Australian YouTubers join them. Together they drink, they laugh, and maybe talk a bit too much about their work.
What's it like living here?
No! No!
The Americans in this casino are no ordinary soldiers, and Pine Gap is not your usual military base. Pine Gap is a top-secret spy facility.
Wait, did this happen? Wait, this is Like they actually linked up with Jane? Like what the fuck's going on? I'm a little confused. They are mentioned in the start, but I didn't wait. No, right? Jane's not a real person, right? I assume this is like. Is Jane a real person? Keep watching it, please.
Roughly 1,000 people work at the so-called Joint Defence Facility, which is a quite misleading name, in fact. In its early years, Australians only worked as cooks, painters, or janitors. While today almost half the staff is Australian and the other half American, in reality the CIA and the NSA call the shots here. While Pine Gap was originally used as a defensive site to keep track of Soviet nuclear missiles during the Cold War, US intelligence quickly realized how useful this base could truly be. Today, it is the US's most important intelligence collection station in the world. There are 38 radar dishes all across the base. Many of them are enclosed in random, huge golf ball-like structures. They are built to hide and protect the antennas inside them. Most of these antennas communicate with US spy satellites, like Orion 3, 5, 7, and 9. These spy satellites are geosynchronous. They move in orbit with exactly the same speed as the Earth's rotation. This way the CIA can intercept almost all wireless communication from Europe, Africa, and Asia, 24/7. The immensely powerful NSA spy programs, Echelon and X-Keyscore, that Edward Snowden made public in 2013, are also operated from Pine Gap. These programs are used to systematically collect everything, from online chats to phone calls and mails. At the heart of the base sits the operations building. On a total of around 20,000 square meters, roughly the size of a small IKEA, the CIA, NSA, and other agencies analyze all incoming intelligence data. Pine Gap played a vital role in America's war on terror. It provided real-time data for soldiers on the battlefield in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it was used to locate targets for US drone strikes, during which hundreds of civilians were killed. A very recent report indicates that Pine Gap intelligence may have assisted Israeli forces to attack targets in Gaza. For that reason, a group of protesters tried to block the entrance to Pine Gap at the end of last year.
Nope.
Pine Gap has been criticized by many different groups before. Some people have even managed to enter the facility. More recently, these Australian YouTubers, for example. Be sure to check out their video. It inspired us to make this video in the first place.
So be more hyped?
Did you hear that? It sounded like bombs going off.
No.
Jane has seen places few people in the world have ever been to. Covert hacking bases in the heart of Europe, training facilities in the US, and spy stations in Australia. She knows many of the CIA's secrets, like the fact that in 2000, an American soldier from Pine Gap reportedly started a secret swingers club in Alice Spring, which held wild sex parties. But there are places that not even Jane will ever have access to.
Ooh, black sites.
On September 6, 2006,
By the way, you want to know something crazy about the boomerang? Like the boomerang of violence? What? The boomerang of fascism and violence, that inevitably the stuff that you do overseas, it loops back around to obviously like the domestic, the imperial boomerang, like the imperialism that you engage in and the activities that you engage in overseas. So like, you know, the countrymen of other nations inevitably comes back and loops around and is tested on American citizens as well. No, not blowback. Imperial boomerang is a little different than blowback. That boomerang is basically best exhibited with the invention of LRADs. LRADs are long-range acoustic devices originally used in, I believe, 2003 in Iraq. First deployed against like civil disobedience happening in Iraq against Iraqi civilians, which are now deployed by American police departments regularly against American domestic civil disobedience. That literally, like, first you invent a new type of weapon, you use it on like Iraqi people, and you're like, oh yeah, they're not real people, who gives a shit, right? And then you use it on your own. Like in a couple of years, you inevitably loop back around and and use it on your own citizens, right? You use the war zones like as a testing ground. So basically, the black site situation is identical as well. The black site situation is identical. First applied in the war on terror, also utilized in Chicago by the Chicago Police Department under the watchful eye of Rahm Emanuel. So something to remember.
President George Bush admitted what many people had already suspected.
So I'm announcing today that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, Ramzi bin al-Shibh, and 11 other terrorists in CIA custody have been transferred to the United States Naval Base at Guantanamo Bay.
In this speech, Bush acknowledged that the CIA was running a network of secret prisons all across the world, so-called black sites. The most well-known CIA prison is Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. The prison was built for international terrorist suspects. Just 4 months after the attacks on 9/11, the first 20 people arrived. But Guantanamo is no regular prison. In most cases, there are no official charges, no trials, and no formal convictions.
What the fuck is this CGI? What do you want? They're not using AI. Like, I'm happy that they're using CGI. Don't complain.
A total of 800 people were brought here. Some have been exposed to enhanced interrogation techniques, most commonly known as torture.
Yeah.
Often, the CIA did not have clear evidence on their inmates. The exact number and locations of black sites are still unknown. Some were run by foreign secret services. At least 10 of these prisons were built and operated by the CIA. Over 50 governments participated in some way. If the CIA suspected someone of being a terrorist, they sometimes became part of the agency's extraordinary rendition program, or simply kidnapping. The suspect was illegally shackled, blindfolded, and transported via plane to one of the CIA's black sites. Some of these prisons were allegedly planned from the CIA base in Frankfurt, while the farm was allegedly involved in rendition flights. One of the most important prisons of the CIA was here, on a Polish military base near the small village of Statek. Inside this 2-story villa, the CIA built one of its very first prisons after 9/11, codename Quartz. The CIA tortured multiple suspects here. As compensation for using the place, the CIA paid at least $15 million and outfitted the base with $300,000 worth of security cameras. After many years of denial, in 2014, the Polish government finally admitted that it hosted the secret CIA prison. Since then, the European Court of Human Rights has found multiple European countries responsible for letting the CIA violate several human rights in prisons on their territory.
I like that normally black sites are like in operation in places like Egypt and stuff, but then you also have one in the fucking middle of Europe in Poland because they just don't know what's going on. They're like, what? The Americans, they wanted to build the house we like. You know, same shit. Leftist, aka post-communist prime minister and president agreed to do this. Okay, bro. Them and their one computer. Yeah, what are they gonna do, bro? They can't do shit. They bribed him with light bulbs. Okay. Listen, you guys are being way too aggressive to all the Polish, especially when at the top of the hour, they don't even see the ad breaks, okay? You, on the other hand, will see a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. The entire nation's on the one computer, okay? They're sitting around, they're chilling, big time. They won't see the ads. You will, though, unless you subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
In 2009, President Obama ordered for all black sites to be closed, but to this day, Guantanamo Bay still holds roughly 30 inmates.
That's crazy. This channel is great, man. They make banger videos, dude. The worst prison in America. I kind of want to watch more of their shit.
This is the biggest prison in the world, designed to hold up to 40,000 inmates. It's a brand new high-security fortress, The inmates are under constant observation, inside and outside. Up to 100 prisoners live in cramped up cells, with no privacy. There's no going out, no fresh air, and no visits. This prison is located in El Salvador. For decades, the country has been terrorized by so-called
Do not read the comments. Worst mistake of my life. Everybody writing Bukele. Yeah, they fucking love dude, YouTube commenters love Bukele. Oh my lord. Many in this comment section are upset by us bringing the Norwegian prison system into the discussion of CCOD. We cut that part from the video. We definitely did not manage to bring our point across here and failed to mention that important context. We are not comparing the economic and social situations in Norway. No, they made them fucking delete a part of the video. That's so crazy. Its crime was low even before it started these policies, but El Salvador literally had enough gangsters to make armies. Norway is rich. It only has to accommodate like a few thousand prisoners at most. Bukele is based though, no more crime. Oh, that sucks. I think it's perfectly valid to literally look at a country like El Salvador and look at a country like Norway and be like, this is their rehabilitative focus when it comes to their criminal justice. This is the most punitive criminal justice, like tackling of criminal justice that is around the planet.
Maras, competing street gangs. It was notoriously one of the world's most dangerous places. Its murder rate has long been the highest on the globe. Then,
I gotta grab my
its
food.
people elected a new president. Nayib Bukele went to war against the country's gangs. His government imprisoned 2% of the country's adult population. Many here, never to see their families again, never to be released back into society. El Salvador is much safer now, in some ways. Bukele is immensely popular as a result, but up to 1 in 3 prisoners is said to be innocent, and El Salvador might have accidentally sacrificed its democracy in its fight against the Maras. This is Juan, a fictional character we base on real reports and material from the mega prison. He is 15 years old, tattooed, his parents are very poor, and abandoned him when he was 9. Then he joined the Barrio 18, a major Mara gang. Now Juan is on a prisoner transport to the southeast with other suspected gang members. Three years earlier, Nayib Bukele became president of El Salvador. He's much younger than your average politician. He knows how to use social media and quickly rose to power. Fighting the Maras dominated his political career. The gangs have their origins in U.S. cities like Los Angeles. After the young migrants were deported in the early 90s, they took control of the streets back in Central America. They've been terrorizing El Salvador for decades. Extortion, arms trafficking, and drug dealing. Maras rule entire communities and districts. They often recruit orphans and leave children in poverty with no choice. Join or die. During gang wars, innocent bystanders are often caught between the fronts on the street. The Maras have attacked and set fire to buses on several occasions, even with innocent civilians inside them. In 2015, 18 people were murdered every day. El Salvador has a population of over just 6 million, which equated to over 100 murders per 100,000 inhabitants. A sad global record. As mayor of the capital, San Salvador, Bukele used mild means to fight this violence. Youth centers, streetlights, infrastructure, and education helped. Many voters like that. Now as president, he's changing his strategy.
Oh yeah.
He wants to rule with an iron fist. At the beginning of his first term in
fake leftist, bro. Fake leftist all around, okay?
office, the murder rate in El Salvador actually falls. But it also fell before that, and there are considerable doubts as to whether this was really due to his security politics. Also, Bukele is said to cooperate with the gangs. The Maras are supposed to keep a low profile and reduce the murder rate. In exchange, Bukele promises benefits for imprisoned gang members. The gangs seem to have agreed, and the violence decreases. Bukele denies any such deal has been made. Either way, in 2021, the population rewards Bukele and his party with a majority in parliament, and with more power. On the 22nd of March, 2022, the government under Bukele declares a state of emergency. The reason is a wave of murders by the Maras. 10 days earlier, over 60 people fell victim to the brutal gangs in a single day. It seems like they stepped down from the supposed deal they had with Bukele. The state of emergency restricts freedom of assembly and freedom of the press. Anyone can be detained for 15 days without a warrant. The police had to meet strict arrest quotas. During the 15 days in police custody, it is decided whether somebody will remain in custody for up to 2 years as pretrial detention. Because of the 15 days of custody and thousands of arrested people, mass trials often decide on this pretrial detention.
This system is so
Judges
insane.
decide the fate of up to 900 people at a time. Sometimes the judges are masked and remain anonymous. Anyone who ends up in pretrial detention usually spends more than a year in prison. The country's prisons became completely overcrowded. Some host 3 times the amount of prisoners they were built for. The conditions are brutal. Guards torture and most likely sometimes kill inmates. In the first year of the state of emergency alone, there are over 150 deaths in the prisons. Dead bodies are reportedly disposed of in mass graves. Relatives not informed of the deaths. We aim to make tough subjects such as this one accessible through animation. That wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, like the truly amazing platform, Odoo, an all-in-one management platform. With Odoo, you can create your own website for free, whether you're an established business owner or just starting out. Odoo is with you every step of the way. You don't need any skills in programming. Honestly, you can be a complete noob. Odoo's website builder makes it a breeze. Just visit odoo.com and answer some questions. What kind of website do you want? Which colors do you prefer? And what's your favorite design style? Odoo will do its magic. Then you can make little tweaks to your liking, change headlines, replace images. If you need more space for text, you can just drag big boxes where you want them, and ta-da. You'll be online in no time, and Odoo gives you a free custom domain for 1 year on top. If you want to go deeper, Odoo offers a range of other powerful applications to optimize your business. Check out Odoo now by visiting fern.deals/Odoo and start building your own website for free today. To free up the regular prisons and to house convicted gang members, this new mega prison is built in 2023. Gang members have officially been classified as terrorists since 2015. Accordingly, the prison is called Center for the Confinement of Terrorism, or CECOT for short. Juan arrives there now. After a good hour, the bus reaches a massive complex, surrounded by a 2-kilometer long and 11-meter high wall. It is supposed to be able to withstand car bombs. Hundreds of soldiers from the surrounding barracks can be called up to CECOT within minutes. After the gate opens, Juan drives past high fences, watchtowers, and huge halls. The bus comes to a halt again in front of one of them. Juan has to hand over all his possessions and get x-rayed. He is given a white t-shirt and trousers. His head gets shaved. Then Juan is taken to his cell. He shares it with around 90 other prisoners. This 4-story metal shelf is his only place to sit. He can use his towel as a pillow. He has to sleep on it at night, if he can. The light in the hall is on 24/7, and it is always bright as day. Juan quickly loses all sense of time. There are no windows. He can't look outside, let alone go outside. In contrast to many other prisons, there is simply no outdoor area for inmates. Escape is utterly impossible.
We saw the real images from that one Mexican YouTuber who was so far up Bukele's dick. It's harrowing. It's gruesome. It is straight up. It is straight up torture. Like it's shit that you see on movies and on TV series, like it's Andor.
The complex is protected by 7 security.
He filmed it, yeah. Not only did he film it, he glazed it up. He literally glazed it the fuck up. They were like, "Oh, dude, this is so sick. I can't believe you're like torturing these guys. I love that. That's awesome."
Security rings. From the cells to high electric fences, 19 watchtowers, and several walls, there's gravel on the paths so that no one can move around unnoticed. Some inmates can speak to their lawyers, but only by video call. There is a special room just for that. Juan only leaves his cell to work in the workshop every day, or to take part in mandatory joint sports sessions in the middle of the hall, always under strict surveillance by security guards armed to the teeth. They watch the prisoners from every angle. There is no privacy. Juan shares 2 large wash basins and toilets with his cellmates. The gym and canteen are only for prison employees. Prisoners eat in their cells. So it's a real highlight when Mexican YouTuber Luisito Comunica comes by with his camera crew. Similarly, when Lethal Crisis gets to film there,